How we doing today, people? Hope everyone's well, and we are ready to trade. We had the last NFP report here before the Fed. Next week we've got inflation data. So the Fed is set to cut rates for the first time in about 4 years, right? The last Fed cut cycle happened in 2019. I believe the first Fed cut at that time was in August, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been quite some time since the Fed has cut, and this is the last NFP report before that transpires. So we also have our last CPI and PPI data, some inflation prints next week before the Fed. The Fed has remained at its stance of feeling confident and gaining confidence that inflation is heading towards its 2% target goal, and the employment side of the central bank's dual mandate has jumped into focus. So that puts what we saw today in the spotlight, as it may help the FOMC policymakers decide by how much to cut their benchmark rates at the meeting on September 18th. So let me just go to FedWatch Futures here and see what the probabilities look like. But the highly watched gathering is only just 2 weeks away, and it's one of the last remaining data points, along with the inflation figures that come out next week, that everyone is interested in. So here are the numbers. The headline figure, the non-farm payrolls, 165,000 were expected, 142,000 came in, which was a miss, right? So it dropped. The jobs added in the month of August, right? Little decline in terms of expectations. Markets have popped since then, right? Trying to move into higher band auctions. We also had the U.S. average hourly earnings, 3.8% versus 3.7%. Unemployment rate came out at 4.2% as expected. So the prior was 4.3 from the unemployment rate, which is a downtick, which does sparks a little more of a bullish note, but the jobs added were a lot weaker than expected. So as this thing loads here, traders are generally leading towards a 25 basis point cut for the September 17-18 Fed meeting. Right now, the probabilities, let's take a look at this. Wow, that's surprising. So the probabilities you can see for a double cut, right, 50 basis point cut in the September meeting is now at 59%. So that's pretty heavy, right? Right now, only 41% expecting a singular cut. So this has revised a lot over the past few weeks. We still have a few weeks into the Fed event, so it can be revised yet again, especially after the CPI and inflation data comes out. There's most likely going to be a change in this. So what we saw in today's movement with the bullish reaction, the report wasn't necessarily super bullish, but the reaction of the market was fairly bullish. So I kind of just want to lean on that in terms of what the expectations for today are. And I'm going to share with you one singular level on the S&P that's going to decide the fate of where I play long side versus short side today. So this event, theoretically, I guess it does mainly matter for the FOMC and what's going on in terms of the rate decision. But in terms of today's trading day, it's not really going to put too much weight on it. It is Friday. We're wrapping the week up. These aren't supposed to be make or break days. Trading small and moving along. So let's take a look at what else we have in news. Not too much. We have two Fed speakers that are coming on the wire today. Fed's Williams is going to talk I guess he's already talked or / talking. And then Fed's Waller is going to talk at 11 a.m. today. Otherwise, there's no real other news. We've seen that tech and equities have been pulling lower and lower the past few days, weeks here. We've seen a decent amount of downside, right? NVIDIA, everyone's putting blame on NVIDIA after that earnings period. It's trying to bottom out right now. It is Friday after all, so we could end the week on a strong note. NASDAQ, surprisingly, yes, it's weak, but in relation to where it is compared to the S&P 500, based on the auctions and the balances, it's not that weak right now. If anything, it's showing some more signs of resilience. So the S&P, the one area that I'm going to share with you guys today that's going to mark my pivot, long above, short below, is 55.10. Right now, we're holding it as support, trying to bounce off of it. And as long as we continue the momentum above this area, and if we can move above 55.35, I think we do open up that upside potential for today. offers below 55.10, 55.08 area. Honestly, we could be in for another trend day to the downside. So it's just a very, very pivotal region right now that marks the bulls versus the bears. It's a key distribution low, massive auction low. So it's it's the Bears' fight to lose after an overnight spill, after yesterday's weakness into the close, after the start Tuesday's weakness, just general weakness all week. So it's a pretty big deal for the Bears to kind of take control of a Friday, which we've seen a lot of Fridays go on the bull side. So that same area that provides a pivot for me today is going to be the 840 area on NASDAQ. Massive balance low over here. Right now we've pulled back into it. We're actually up off that level 100 points. So pretty interesting stuff going on right now where the bull side is trying to take over, but with NASDAQ I need to see 19,040 break, S&P above the 35, and I think that we can have a decent trend day on the upside today. So watch out. Don't let this news create a massive bias that causes you to short aggressively as this thing continues to rally above 55.10, above 50, or sorry, above 18,840 on NASDAQ is just going to be a hard sell realistically. So that's all I have today. Short, a little wrap up. I hope everyone has an amazing weekend, an amazing Friday to wrap up the week, and I'll see you guys all on Monday. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll chat very soon. Check out tradeproacademy.com. We're going to be opening up our live room, and we'll probably go back to streaming at some point next week into the after or in the morning session.